So this is a video about chapter 6 and kind of just what it's all about. So the title is on proteins, and I remember learning a lot about proteins and like the way they're built, like the structures of them and the different kinds in high school in like my anatomy class actually, which is kind of fun to like know how they link and like how they work in our bodies. But I'm more of like a practical, like that's how I process things, is how do proteins practically affect our daily life. And so the part in a reading text that really stuck out to me was 6.7, and so that talks about like how does eating a high protein diet harm you. I had never heard that protein could actually have a negative effect on our body. I mean, I just assumed that if you're eating too much of anything, it's going to have a negative effect. But I didn't recognize that if you eat too much protein, like that could affect your liver. And here it mentions like eating too much red meat is actually linked to colon cancer. And I eat a lot of meat because I'm gluten-free, because I'm corn-free, like that limits the kinds of foods I can eat. Especially when like I go out to eat with friends, I can't just get like a sandwich, or I usually get a salad sometimes. But my main kind of source of food is protein. In the morning, I always eat 2 sausage links and an egg with like some coffee, and like that's my standard breakfast that helps me make it through the day. And then lunchtime, recently I've been having a lot of like gluten-free homemade cinnamon raisin bread with peanut butter. So the peanut butter, I guess, is not a red meat protein, so that's really good, but still protein. And then for dinner, it's always meat. Some kind of meat, it's always meat. And sometimes it's tied in with like potatoes or rice. Usually I'll have carrots. I really, really like carrots, so I eat a lot of carrots. And so it was a little shocking, a little concerning at first to recognize that I should perhaps maybe pursue other forms of protein in my diet. But overall, this really stuck out the very, very most. What else did it say? Yeah, so some researchers have expressed concern that a high protein intake may overburden the kidneys by forcing them to excrete the extra nitrogen as urea, or however you say that. So just in general, like this idea of animal proteins not being great for us is a little overwhelming. But also, like, when it was talking about plant proteins, I think that was 6.6. I just don't eat a ton of those. Like, I'm not necessarily a huge fan of nuts or seeds, although over the summer I was staying with my fiance's grandparents, and they eat a very clean diet. So they would make me a smoothie every morning, and they'd put like sesame seeds in it and blend it up with like spinach, and then for dinner we'd always have like a huge salad with lots of seeds and lots of vegetables and fruit and whatever else we wanted to put in it. So like I can eat that way. It's just it feels a little more expensive, and maybe it's not. I just haven't looked into that personally. So I found this chapter to be kind of convicting as far as my own personal health and becoming aware of what I'm eating affects my body. I do wonder, like, I notice when I try and limit my sugars, especially on the weeks when I've eaten a little more sugar than normal, I do go through withdrawals. And so I wonder if I change my diet, like even starting this next week over spring break, if I limit my amount of red meats or even just animal proteins in general, one, I'll have to be even more aware of boosting my plant proteins. But also I wonder if that would have an effect. Like, would I be more groggy? Would I be grumpy? Because I also work out a lot, and that's why I use so much proteins, because I'm trying to build muscle. And so maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe I'm taking this too seriously. But I do want to take care of my body, and I do want to do what's best for me. So that's something I should look into. But in general, I thought this whole chapter, well, one, it was really long, but two, it was just is very enlightening. I didn't realize that the way our body like processes proteins could affect like swelling in our body. I thought that was interesting. And just the way it discussed like how our body absorbs proteins and the way like our body actually digests them. So it was a very thorough look at what proteins are and how they work in our bodies. So I thought this was good. I'm looking forward to continuing these videos. I think these videos really help me anyways, because I have to verbally process what I've already read, which kind of just helps me reiterate and let it sink in and then actually use it practically. So anyways, I think those were the things that I wanted to highlight for this video. Yeah, I look forward to listening to some of the other students, like what they had to say about this chapter. So great. Thanks. Bye.